Hello again, Alex Talks viewers. I'm back. So this is Alex Talks. I'm Alex Emil, and I kind of sit here and talk about video games in this video format, and I do that every Tuesday and Friday. Normally, I haven't been keeping up as well as I was for the past 2 weeks. I'm sorry, I missed last Friday and I missed this Tuesday. If you check my Twitter account, you'll see that I post anytime I'm like, oh, well, it looks like I can't do Alex Talks. It's been a lot of personal life stuff. Just been very busy. I'm going to talk about that in a bit. That's kind of going to be the direction of today's Alex Talks. But mostly this week, I was going to do Alex Talks on Wednesday because I couldn't do it Tuesday, and I didn't do it Monday because my sleeping has been all messed up, and it just rolls into the time in which I record this, which is usually in the morning or just around lunchtime. When I'm getting lunch or about to get lunch, I'll just record this, go get lunch, eat, and then edit it and put it out. But I just, I got all messed up over the weekend as far as sleeping goes, and I've been the opposite of productive this week, and it's been a horrible mess. I didn't get to finish editing the podcast till Wednesday, which is a day late. And the reason I didn't do Alex Talks on Tuesday was because I started editing the podcast, and it was like an hour longer than I thought it was, than I remembered it being. But excuses are excuses, and that's just bullshit that we tell everybody when we don't get our work done on time. But I'm sorry. I just wanted to put it out there. Alex Talk's schedule is probably going to have to change. I will say I'm going to attempt is the key word here, to do my Tuesday, Friday talks up until the week after E3. In which I will probably do just one Alex Talks the week after that with my general thoughts of it and kind of talking about it, or just do one that Friday and have that be it. And then I'm probably going to cut this second season of Alex Talks, and then I'll take a couple months off, and I'll come back in a once-a-week format, which is, I like doing this twice a week, but a big thing is I'm kind of running dry on ideas that I want to really talk about here, and I'm running into a lot of ideas that I would really like to write about, and that's going to, again, get into the topic of what I've been doing just with my time. If you've been listening to the podcast, and if you've been following me on Twitter, which you should, I tweet a lot, and I will talk to you guys on Twitter if you do like watching this. But yeah, I've been attempting to start freelance work. And for those who don't know what freelance work is, it's basically contracting off article by article, for websites that'll pay you. And I'm aiming for websites that'll pay me. I'm not really doing volunteer freelance stuff because I've done that before and it really doesn't work out. I have no incentive to really continue writing for a place if I feel like I'm just using these ideas where I could be pitching them and getting paid for them and contracted to do them. But, that's besides the point. I have a very large resume kind of, or portfolio, I should say, on Irrational Passions. And I've been now taking that and picking out my favorite clips that I've written, which are the articles I've written, and I've been kind of attaching them to ideas that I've been sending out to editors and trying to get work for. And I've been doing that pretty much starting around 9 a.m. every morning, Monday through Friday, and just going at it and just maybe sending out one thing a day, or talking to editors, or refining and going back and spell checking my work, and maybe making a few subtle changes here and there. If like I put 2 words in there that didn't need to be in there, I'll remove them, or I'll delete a paragraph that's just extra, and just kind of refining those clips and those articles that I've written in the past and just making them look good and saying like, here, this is a really good article that I wrote. It needed a little tweaking. I now have it to its best iteration, and now I can submit this and be like, hey, here's my experience. So, it's just been Monday through Friday for the past 3 weeks, except for this past week, but I'm including that for the purposes of this. But yeah, Monday through Friday, I've been getting up in every morning, and just kind of writing and brainstorming ideas and making a huge list of ideas, and putting them out on paper, and then sometimes writing up a full, like article pitch, which I'll send to an editor. And, it's been hectic. It's been really fun, and it's been something I'm actually really enjoying a lot more than I thought I would. I've been getting into a lot more, and it's just been eating up my time. Like I'm right now, I'm the only one editing all the posts going up on IP, because a lot of the writers are dealing with a lot of school stuff, or certain specific things that I won't get into here. And yeah, that's why the site has been slower, and it's the times are changing at this point, because I want to start the writers that have been putting 120%, into the website. It's been wonderful. I want to start them freelance writing because they deserve to get paid for the excellent ideas that they have. And I can't do that because that's not, at any point, I didn't imagine irrationalpassions.com to be the next IGN or anything like that. Now that I've worked with a team of writers, I've worked with people who I've made editors for the site and have let them flourish their ideas and let them work with each other, and created this team of total badasses as far as games writing goes, I think. And I've worked with them, and they are so good, and they have they've basically created all this original content for my site that I made, for nothing. For basically me telling them how to improve their writing in my experience as someone who isn't like a paid editor or something. And that's, that means a lot to me. So, I am okay with them not writing for the site and taking those ideas that they have that they would normally put on Rational Passions and sending them out to editors that will pay them for those excellent ideas because they deserve it and they're awesome. And I'm just glad I got to work with them. So like that's content on the website's going to trickle down in the future. I don't know how or in what way, but, we're looking to bring back Writers Ramble, and I'm hoping to get more involved in that, and I'm going to start publishing, hopefully by the end of this month, a non-video game podcast on the website, just as it's something that's kind of off topic and for fun and really offensive that I've wanted to do for a while, with some friends of mine, and I have no other place to put it, so it would be going on IP because people will see it there, and I want people to see it and listen to it and hopefully like it. And Alex Talks is going to change, and hopefully, if soon, I will actually start getting contracted for writing. My writing would no longer be on IP. It would be elsewhere where I would come back to IP and write things that I wouldn't write anywhere else or wouldn't want to write anywhere else. Things that I thought were special and personal or games that I played and I just wanted to review. But yeah, it's been crazy. I know this sounds like the end of Irrational Passions or something like that, but that's totally not what it is. But it's just like I've been really thinking about what I want to do with content, and I've been easing off on Alex Talks because I've done so many, and I'm running dry on ideas and topics. And I want to save those topics, and I want to make every Alex Talks episode good and entertaining and interesting. Most of all, interesting. I want what I'm saying here to be constructive and important and valuable. Like someone can listen to it and hear a well-formed opinion that I stand by. And it's coming to the point where I think I would rather take that well-formed opinion and write it out and kind of knock it out of the park in writing every time instead of doing it 2 times a week and maybe saturating good ideas that I have. But I have a lot of good ideas left and a lot that I still want to talk about. Infinite amount that I still want to talk about. I don't know why I said a lot, like there's an end to it. But I did want to put this out there, kind of like tell you why I haven't been as good at getting these up on time, because I'm doing something that is furthering my career. Hopefully, I'm trying to get paid to write about video games now. Like seriously, I'm taking it very seriously now. Where before, the past 3.5 years, almost 4 years, I've been kind of like, I'm building my portfolio. I'm taking it casually. I'm in school. I'm focusing on school and doing this secondary, but now this is it. This is primary. This is what I do. Every morning I get up and I open my computer and I start thinking and writing and tweeting and talking to editors and doing stuff like this. And it's changed. Like my day-to-day life has changed because of it. And that just makes it more difficult to do these, but I will continue to do them. Because I like this. I like doing this. I like having this weird soapbox that for some odd reason people watch, and I really appreciate that you guys watch it, as I always say. But yeah, that's kind of like why I've been lazy about these, I guess is the best way to put it, and why sometimes the podcast is late, because I'll be like, oh, I need to get these things done, and then I'll do this, or someone didn't get their podcast file up until Wednesday night. And I need everyone's individual file to edit the show. Can't edit it till Thursday, so instead I'll just use Thursday morning to do something else, and then edit the podcast Thursday night, and it might not come out till Friday. It just happens like that sometimes, and it sucks. And I know, but just, I this is an excuse, and it's bullshit. Like I said, excuses are just layers of bullshit that define how lazy we are. But I do want to do other things, and I produce the podcast and I produce these in my spare time, as opposed to time that I'm getting paid for. And that's why sometimes I am okay with them coming out late. And I'm sorry for that, but I do have a lot more things that I'm doing now, and I'm happy with that. And, but don't think that these will take a backseat. Sometimes I'll just be a day late, or I'll miss a day out of the 2 that I have for Alex Talks. But I will say, this last week of May, I'm not going to be in Maryland. I'm going to be visiting my mom, in Florida, which means I may or may not do these. I might pre-record one for Tuesday and have it set up to go up on Tuesday, and then do one in Florida on Friday. But there won't be a podcast that week, and I don't know if there will be any Alex Talks that week, but the week after that there will be. I'll do some E3 predictions, and then it'll be E3 week, and everything's going to be insane. But yeah, that's why my schedule has been different, and that's why I'm like, I can't do an Alex Talks today. Shit, I'm really, really sorry. So that's kind of like what's been distracting me. So for an article this week, I cheated a little, and I'm sorry. It's an article from last week, on Polygon, which now they've hit me twice. Polygon runs really great features, which I like highlighting features because I think they're the most unique and interesting. But it was Ben Kuchera on Polygon. He wrote, "Nintendo may be drowning, but it's invested in doing so silently," which is a really interesting feature. I mean, everyone talks about, oh, Nintendo's doomed. We even talked about it on the podcast last week, and I have very strong opinions about that, because people who say that clearly don't understand anything. No, I'm just kidding. But they're not seeing the big picture, right? They're not seeing the billions of yen that Nintendo is sitting on, and the fact that, their games are still selling. But Nintendo just took a huge, $200 million loss on fiscal 2013. So, there are problems there. And this came out before then, I believe. But it's a really interesting article about how Nintendo is kind of isolating themselves from the interesting parts of the industry. It was just talking about how Nintendo is kind of isolating itself in this one Twitter guy that they had to kind of talk to indie developers. He said something that Nintendo considered a no-no, and they basically told him he couldn't tweet anymore, which shut them off completely from indies. They had one guy to do it, and then they told him not to tweet anymore. And no, social media isn't going to save Nintendo by any means, but it's not helping. And it's a really interesting read. And it's a constructive look at what Nintendo is doing and why they need to kind of open their doors more, and open the social media bandwagon like Sony is kind of doing with Adam Boyes and Shuei Yoshida. You see them on Twitter all the time, and they're talking to fans, and they're communicating with people and talking to developers. And it's Ben Kuchera brought up the point, developers are jumping to defend Sony and the PlayStation 4 and developing for it. but no one is doing that for Nintendo and the Wii U. Like, no one. And that's a big deal. Like, that's a problem. If your competitor is in such good graces that developers are saying, like, hey, these guys are good to develop for, then you've got to look out, or at least look at those things and consider them. But yeah, that's my article of the week. It'll be in the description. Please give it a read. It's really interesting. It's a very short article. It's maybe about 600, 700 words. So it's very quick. But yeah, there you go. Check it out. I would appreciate it. Polygon, Nintendo article. But thank you so much for watching. As I said before, I'm Alex O'Neill. I do these every Tuesday and Friday when I can, but ideally I'll be doing them Tuesday and Friday for the next few weeks. And then after E3 is over and behind us, I will be taking a hiatus, end of season 2, we'll say. Yeah, I'm giving you guys some heads up on that. If you have any topics or questions or anything you want to ask me, articles you want me to read, something you've written that you want me to read, I don't know, send it to me at alfighter27 on Twitter. I would love to read them or see them or talk to you guys. Whatever you want to say to me. As long as it's not like something really mean, because don't be mean. Check out irrationalpassions.com. Amazing stuff is still going up there on a weekly basis. Even though it might be less so in the near future, there's tons of amazing stuff. Spotlight on Wednesdays, Throwback Thursdays. A couple good reviews just went up. One for Hearthstone, for example. Yeah, there's some interesting articles coming soon. I recently interviewed John Romero, actually, on irrationalpassions.com. And go check that out. I don't know too much about John Romero. I wasn't like a huge id Software guy, but it was a very interesting interview. I could listen to that guy talk for hours. And I did it with Niall, who he kind of led the interview, so you don't have to hear me talk anymore. But yeah, check out irrationalpassions.com, Irrational Passions Podcast. Follow me on Twitter, Tuesdays and Fridays for these. That's all I got. I will talk to you guys next Tuesday, hopefully.